Okay, welcome everyone to the third webinar series of the BBX Knowledge series. And thank you for joining. If you're a returning guest, welcome once again. And if you're new, don't be a stranger. Do feel free to turn on your webcams. My colleague Sabina has a technical issue with her webcam and is unable to turn it on, but she's here with us, as you've heard. And yeah, so to get us started, the main intention of the whole BBX knowledge series is to just keep us as a community engaged, and of course together with the communities over in BBX Malaysia and BBX India as well, and to ultimately just learn together as one. So, before I begin the introduction of our amazing guest speaker today, I just hope that everyone's been keeping safe and well despite the current situation that we're all going through. And I think it's good that we have these weekly webinars to keep us going and to ensure that we continuously learn and grow together as a community. So, to kickstart today's webinar, we are honored to have Dr. Sundardas here with us today. He is an award winning entrepreneur, best selling author, and professor of natural medicine and naturopathy. Yep. So, also the CEO of Natural Therapies Research Alliance Group of companies. And Dr. Sundardas has also worked with over 15,000 clients from over 30 countries. And he has also helped organizations increase their revenues to the tune of $25 million with strategic business consulting. So, without further ado, let's just welcome Dr. Sundardas. So, Dr. Sundardas, please.
Thank you so much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play 3 minute about video to give you a perspective of my experience and what it's like. And then after that, I'll talk about today's presentation proper. And the video kind of gives you an idea of my life experiences in different areas, which is why I figured it's going to be easier.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. Right. You can see it, right?
Yep, we can see it.
Our next honoree is Dr. Sundardas Annamalai, out front.
That's fine. Then you sit down. So the muscle should go free. Zip up. The next part of the test is that's correct. Stick the tongue out to the right. Then preemptive breakdowns, warn them of a breakdown with this one shot. So I'm going to explain to you what it means. This slide will determine whether your life works. How would you like to break through any limiting mind belief? Let me teach you the strategy of mind transformation. Now. Alright? Okay, so just remember, it's the weight transfer. Okay? And go all the way. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. That was to give you a perspective from my background of being in business for 33 years and running my own companies as well as consulting for companies and organizations around Asia and the world. Because then it's going to make what I'm going to say is going to make sense. Otherwise, like, what's my basis for saying what I'm going to say? Is it showing up?
Yep, it is.
Okay, thanks. So the first thing to understand is that I've been in business now for 33 years. I've survived 4 recessions before this. So I know what
Wow.
it's like. And this one is the trickiest because just as you think that everything's okay, more stuff comes up. So unless and until you end up having sufficiently sophisticated business thinking model, we will have problems as a business surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for current small business owners who are service providers and want to scale up their business. What I'm going to cover, what you're going to need, why you need an attraction brand magnet, how to add another 10K to your bottom line without any new clients in 90 days. And I did it last year. And I did it, even help my clients do the same thing. How to add 100K or more to your bottom line in a year. So all of these may sound somewhat extreme, but I'm going to show you that if you set up the structure right, it's actually not such a big deal. And you have an organization like BBX to provide the opportunity to reach out to your market, it's going to be so much easier. So what you get if you do this is you get more time and energy. Clients will come looking for you. Clients will pre-select themselves, and you become an icon in your niche. So let me ask you this, right? If this would happen to you, how many of you would be actually delighted by this experience? So you could either put something in your chat box or you could raise your hand and say yes. At least we get some participation even though we are doing it through Zoom. So if you stick to the end, I will show you how you can get the slides at the end of the webinar for free. So we've talked a little bit about my awards, but I'm just going to say that I've won awards not only in other countries but also in Singapore, not just business awards, also from the Teachers Network and from India, and I've authored a couple, half a dozen books or more. And my idea here is how do we maximize your capacity to be productive, thrive, and really do well in the environment, even when the going gets tough. So part of this is to understand that until and unless you have some kind of brand and some kind of brand awareness, you're going to be in trouble. So there is some video stuff about success stories with my clients and overview of the video that you just saw, which you can look at and download if you wish. But I want to start off from how I first started. I started off with very, very profound handicaps. I had learning disabilities, I was brain damaged, autistic, and learning handicapped. And one of the issues that people who are autistic have is we do not understand emotions. So this whole thing about branding, marketing, and personal brand is like me learning a second or third language. So I did not understand the power of personal branding and I lost thousands of dollars struggling in my business until I figured it out. Earlier on, we were talking about the Singapore education system. And if you have gone through our education system, it's all about some your teachers or your professors saying if you're any good, right? So this is great in school. It's very bad when you're in business. So I used to believe that if I was good at what I did, people would come. This is the basic flaw that all experts, entrepreneurs, coaches, and even some business owners have because they think that just having a good service or a good product is enough to survive, to win in the market. And I'm going to tell you that that is the minimum necessary to play the game, to enter the market, not to win. If you don't have a good product or service, don't enter. But if you do have a good product or service, that's your minimum qualification to enter, but not to win. To win, you actually have to reach out to your customers in a way that makes it impossible for your customers to ignore you. And this is one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. And until I learned it, there were a lot of challenges. And once I learned it, I realized that when you reach one level, there's another level, and another level, and another level, so the levels never stop. So why do you need an attraction magnet brand? What's so important about it? What you do, this is your skill set, who you know, your client base, the products and services you create, and the totality of all of this is who you are. Now, when you can communicate all of this effectively to your clients and your niche, you have built a brand. But how do you do this? How do you communicate to all of them, all of this, in 15 seconds or less? Because one of the major issues we all have is a shortened attention span. We watch TV, we watch things on the internet, and if it doesn't get you in 30 seconds or less, you're going to switch off. So how do you get attention? How do you get market share? How do you get mind share? And that is the difference between whether you're going to survive, thrive, or when something like this happens, you collapse. And I say this not in a not wanting to be difficult, but I say this out of compassion because I see this happening and it's really, really sad. I told you I've sat through 4 depressions, 4 crashes. And I remember when I was about almost 20 years ago, and we were going through one of them. And at that point, I already been in business for about 10 years. And I remember looking out of my clinic, and every few months, another shop will close down. So there was this long street, right? And every few months, somebody will close down, and a few days or weeks later, somebody new will come in. And it's like on, off, and it went on for the whole year. The good thing was that by then already we had clients, we had a group of people who saw us, and I was really, really marketing very hard. So we kept attracting people. But it was frightening because you look outside and you have to be strong inside, otherwise you are afraid that the same thing's gonna happen. So it's a mind game. So because I was autistic and introverted, I was not really good at marketing myself and communicating. So I started reviewing the whole process of marketing, communicating, and personal branding and like anybody else, if you're a normal person, somebody tells you do this, you will do it. For me, I had to do the research. I will go and look at the numbers, the stats. How many of you, by the way, do Facebook, right? You all watch Facebook, you post stuff, right? I would actually post things on Facebook and measure the response rates just to get my numbers right. Because I couldn't believe that somebody said this media is for personal, this media is for marketing, this media is for professional. I had to measure everything. So many of my clients who are coaches, engineers, lawyers, experts, and professionals, they kept just thinking that having a good product and services was enough. And after a while, they realized that that was really a fallacy. I mean, they carried on thinking that way, they would be in trouble. Now, you can tell people they have to do something, but until the urgency comes upon them, they will not do it. I remember 6 to 7 years ago, I was doing a program, introductory program to help rehabilitate or reboost the spa industry. And I was talking about this whole model of how they had to rethink, like think outside the box. And they were going, oh no, it's all okay. We've got it figured. We just continue doing the same thing, add a few more tweaks, and we'll be good to go. Now, eventually, there were some people who I worked with who started tweaking, and they're still around. I dread to think of how many spas would have shut down by now because they didn't go the next step. They didn't build another level of products and services that didn't require direct contact. And that's really the challenge. When do you develop safety nets? You develop safety nets way in advance, not when it's about to happen. So about 35 years ago, when I was about to start my business, my brother, who was an engineer, told me, look, you should go work for somebody. Starting your own business is unsafe. My whole thinking was, one of the most common things that happens is if you're a professional and you're a PMET, about 45, 50, you get retrenched. And at the point when you have your mortgage, your children are in school, you bought a new car, and you're paying everything by loan, that's when you lose your job. And this may be 25, 30 years in the future, but it was unthinkable for me. And I was thinking about that when I was about 24. And over the years, I saw it happen over and over and over again until about 27, 28 years later, my brother looked at me and said, you were really right. I hated that you were right 20, 30 years ago. So you have to look for trends before they happen. And I'm not going to say I saw COVID coming, but I felt there was going to be a major reversal in the financial landscape, and I started preparing for this about 4 years ago. And at that point, when we were preparing for this 4 years ago, we actually had one of our best years ever. And my staff were thinking I was a crazy person to prepare for bad times in the future. Because look, we were having such a good time. But I've always paid attention to the little twinges I get. And I'm grateful that I did. So the old way, sell your products or services, sell to whoever comes to you and hope they will buy. The new way is to hook into your customer psychology and develop raving fans by optimizing your personal brand versus being generic. In a way, with BBX, you can reach out to a larger database. But if 5 of you are offering the same service, why would a client pay attention to you? Unless you have a unique distinguishing differentiator. And if you try and have a unique distinguishing differentiator based on just a tactic, then you will have to keep changing tactics. So you need a brand identity like an iPhone instead of an Android or a Starbucks instead of a neighborhood coffee shop. So why do you need an attraction magnet brand? Why your clients looking for you can't find you? That's because you're not unique enough. Until you create a personal brand that speaks to them, they do not buy from you. Would you like your clients looking for you from all over the world? And currently, I still have clients looking for me from all over the world. It's not because of how wonderful my services are, it's because of my personal brand. So, what is a great business? It's a great product or service and a great brand. If you look at this, even if you don't own a car or you're not involved or interested in cars, you recognize all of them. And what's common about all of them is they're not just great products or services, they are great brands. Now, you may not know, but there are many times some of the engines made for the different brands are made by the same manufacturer. Okay? It's the same manufacturer doing that. But the brand person creates product differentiation, and you, the customer, don't know that unless you're an engineer. So your customers do not know the uniqueness you offer unless turn it into a brand promise. So are you a brand or a commodity? These are the brands. This is a commodity. You walk into an Android shop and you want an Android and you're looking for the best possible buy, the most features and the lowest price. But if you go into an Apple store, iPhone store, you're going to look for the suitable iPhone model and you don't negotiate on the price. So, is your business, is it iPhone or is it an Android? So, brand gives you visibility, amplification, and a connection. So, people buy because they want the solution that you offer to them and they don't know who will best solve their problem. So, if you're offering the solution and if who you are speaks to them, they will buy from you. So you need to become an icon and capture and retain your market. So if you're an icon, you stand out. So part of it is using third-party endorsement to create part of your branding and imaging. And we have examples of this. So I don't want to load this too much. If you want to, you can look at that. And when people come looking for us, they basically look at our testimonials and we've actually asked them, look, there are like 5 clinics offer our specialization. Why do you pick us? And 9 times out of 10, our clients will say, we read your testimonials, we read your case histories. The 10th time, the client will say, we offer the most complete range of services. Now I'm telling you what I'm saying. I'm not telling you what my clients are telling me. Of course, when we plan the whole thing, we set up to do all of that. But if we tell them that, it doesn't mean anything. When they find out for themselves, in other words, they must be able to access it and see it, then they get it. So this is one of the companies we work for. This was a high-end engineering company in Malaysia. They had been around for 15 years before we started working for them. Inconsistent flow of clients, inconsistent income flow, boom and bust cycles, stressed out boss and employees, no standard operating procedure, almost no branding, very little recognition outside Malaysia, working 12 hours a day. This was a precision engineering company, like low 8-figure turnover. So after we started working with them, consistent flow of clients and income, systems, energy, time alignment, happier employees because of systems, reduced turnover of staff. They partnered with a prestigious German company, and the CEO told me he didn't have to struggle anymore because his staff could automate most processes. Now this was before COVID, right? So before COVID, you could say, yeah, right, this could happen. And I'm telling you, the old picture and the new one. The old one looked like something in the 1970s and 1980s. The new one looks like something out of Transformers. Okay, this is something out of. You could see this from a Transformer movie, and this is the old style factory workout. And then they moved to a new place, and they bought new stuff. This, by the way, was one of our other clients who is a media artist. And once we helped brand her, she went from being an obscure media artist to Malaysia, one of the top media artists in Malaysia. And then he went on to win multiple Entrepreneurship Awards, became an icon in his industry, and started spreading in wings throughout Southeast Asia and the world. So how to add 10K to your bottom line without new clients? Your best customers are your current clients. So you want to become the go-to person for your tribe? Look at your niche and solve their biggest immediate problem. So one of the other issues that we often see business owners have is either they have only one major product without a deep back end, or the other mistake that people make is they put all their products in front, so you confuse your market. And of course, confuses your branding. So during the COVID situation, this was last year, we looked at our current clients. We looked at one of the biggest problems they were having because of the COVID situation, lack of cannot exercise, cannot go out and work out, and we designed a new spinal healthcare program. So I did some further training. Normally this postgraduate program would have cost 3 or 4 times more, but because of COVID, it was only 2,000. So we saved money, special pricing. And after that, we tweaked the program and added 25,000 to our bottom line last year. The clients loved it and saved some of them surgery. So I didn't look for new clients. I repurposed techniques and know-how we already had and sold it to existing clients. And I did it in such a way that 70% of it was handled by my team. So I didn't get any busier, so I was free to go and innovate and think of other programs and all of that. So got back to Mr. Shakti again, the CEO, and what we did was he said that as a result of COVID, suddenly 3 or 4 business owners who were supposed to do $1 million deals with him all said, let's wait till COVID is over. So he was looking at me, I'm in a jam. So I said, let's tweak what we're doing. So he didn't believe in marketing, personal branding, and positioning until we started working together. Okay. So his company went from 7 to 8 figures and became a poster boy for the Malaysian government. And then he went into IoT, Internet of Things. He was invited to partner with a prestigious company and be part of a special industrial exhibition. So we told him, if people are not going to buy and make new machines, how about you go back to your customers and offer them a solution so that they don't have machine breakdowns. So I don't know if you know this, but in that industry, when a machine breaks down, it can cost the company anything from $500,000 to $1 million within 3 to 5 days. Right? So it's a really expensive deal. And the traditional way of looking for machine breakdowns are basically not efficient. So an IoT program is you go in, you attach some sensors, and the sensors will tell you way in advance when the machine is going to break down so you can intervene. So he was doing this program a few years earlier. I told him, why don't you turn it into a subscription model? So he was working on the subscription model. So when the COVID came along, nobody was prepared to buy new stuff, but they were all wanting to protect the existing technology from breakdowns. And remember, people had to work at 25% or 50%, so you couldn't have more staff. So the moment he started doing this Internet of Things offer, he started snapping it up and suddenly he started getting busy again. So after that, we actually helped him work out the possibility of taking this project to other countries. So how do you add 100K or more in a year to your bottom line? Your current clients trust you and they want to work with you. Have you developed your business so that you have a back end consistent with your brand and business? So what happens after your client comes in? Do you just have one service or do you have a range of services? So all of my companies have a front end and a sufficiently deep back end. And depending on the client's needs, we give them the opportunity to expand and grow either the quality of their health or their business by matching them to appropriate services. So if you look at KFC, most people think that Kentucky Fried Chicken is all about just chicken. But actually, they are about logistics, they are about service deliveries, they are about growing potatoes, providing chicken, providing the whole back end of how to set up a franchise. Most people look at Apple and think it's about iPhones. It's actually about iTunes, supply chain, logistics, and telcos. McDonald's don't make money from burgers, they make money from real estate. So this is about having a brand, and once you have a brand, you develop your back end. So to give you a perspective, the Dr. Sundardas is a brand. So I've got one set of medical services and clinics and practitioner training, wellness services and training, and consultancy for businesses. And I'm leveraging off my personal brand, and these are the countries I'm involved in. And paradoxically, because of COVID, I had more time to do business connections and more Zoom calls and all of that. These are the interviews I've done, and interviews are an important part of building your branding, communication, and marketing. And it also lets people know that you're around. About 10, 20, 15 years ago, I actually had this family that came down, so I had clients who fly down from 30 countries. So occasionally you have families that go from country to country as you're doing businesses. So I was in one of my clinics and I had these two Indian gentlemen who came down and said, "We want to talk to you." So I said, "Yeah, right. What is it about?" And it turns out that they go from country to country and they bring their family along and they're developing businesses. And they have read my books, they read all my books, and they said, "We want you to treat our family." And it turns out that they were one of the richest families in India with a whole range of businesses. And so I ended up treating the whole family, and the only way they knew about me was because of my books. So we're talking about, again, branding. So Galactic back end, they went from being a precision engineering company, so they became an icon in Malaysia. Now they're in multiple related industries. They're not just precision engineering, they've gone into solar and green energy because of the branding they got from being a precision engineering company. They have developed a platform to do IoT for factories in countries around the world, and we're exploring joint ventures for them in different countries. So this is about why you need an attraction brand magnet, how to add 110K to your bottom line without new clients in 90 days, how to add 100K or more to your bottom line, that's what we spoke about. So how many of you felt you got some value from this conversation so far today? Thank you. So we have a program. This is the Expert Entrepreneur Program. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share about this program with you. And later on, you can chat with me about if this is a good fit for you. So we have different levels to this program. We have Jump Spin, which is how to add 10K to your bottom line in 90 days. Then Boot Camp, which is to structure your business with branding for recurring income and to add 100K in a year. And the Expert Entrepreneur Branding, learn the secrets of brands so you have a recurring flow of clients who love to learn from you, who love to buy from you. So what you will get is more time and energy. Clients come looking for you. Clients who pre-select themselves, they become an icon in your niche. You develop a platform to offer other related products and enter other markets. So over the next 5 days, we have set aside some time to talk to you and to help you. We'll talk for about roughly 45 minutes and map out an action plan for you, which is to design an attraction brand magnet, add 110K to your bottom line, and how to add 100K or more to your bottom line. At the end of the call, if I feel you might be a good fit, I might invite you to become one of the new clients we take on. However, there's absolutely no guarantee that you will make the invitation because I'll need to make sure that whenever I work with somebody, I can absolutely help them. If I can't, I don't take them on. And if we do make this invitation, it's up to you. So we normally have a limited set. So I urge you to book this appointment. Later on, we tell you how to book it. Slots are limited, and once I'm maxed out, I will close appointment for the year. If you don't make an invitation, you are still going to get value and an actionable plan on what to do. So you can book this free call. How do you do this? So how do you do it if you become a client? We will work in 1 to 3 cycles of the following 4 to 12 weeks, depending on where you are. So if you're really starting off, you may not need everything. You may need just the basic. If you are the more developed business owner, you may develop all of that. So it may take 12 weeks or more. And then I go over all your concerns on calls and Zoom calls and tell you what to do. So you can book a call at https www.drsundardas.com. When you go there, there will be a link that will tell you sign up for an appointment. We have some information about the background, the people that we work with. I'm also a management consultant, so if you are a SME, you may be able to get access to the training with 70 to 80% grant funding. And if you schedule a call today, you will get the slides for today's lecture as well. I'm not going to stop share. I'm just going to go back and tell you again. You can book your call at www.drsundardas.com. And I think maybe I can put this in the chat as well later on. And I'm going to stop share. And I'm going to invite questions if any.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank
Sundardas,
you.
for the very inspirational and educational talk. So, does anyone have any questions for him? Does anyone? Don't be shy. If you are feeling a little shy, or if you have any questions that pop up along the way,
You
you
can
can do
type it
feel
there.
yeah, you could type it out, or you could also feel free to reach out to Dr. Sundaras personally as well. He will leave his contact here. Yeah, so you could, I'll just give you some time to type it out if you have
Sure.
any
I'll leave
questions.
my personal email there as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Dr. Sundaras. So does anyone have any questions that you'd like to type in the chat? Okay, so it seems, oh, would you like to? Okay,
I think Dr. Sundar was very clear in expressing.
okay, great. Thanks, VJ.
The interesting thing is that you may not know this, but because of the COVID situation, there's a lot of funding available both on the government level as well as private investors and people who want to take on projects and all of that. And we are currently in the process of talking to different countries. And in the different countries, we are working with different projects. And the only reason we can do that is because of COVID, because there's so much funding available. So if anyone who is ready to, pursue opportunities and take them and come up with innovative ideas, there's a lot of funding available. Yes, Vijay. Vijay's raised his hand.
Yeah, Dr. Sundar, just wanted to check with you in a context of doing business in India. You know how the system works when somebody wants funding, especially from a government. Do you also provide a consultancy and suggestions as to how to get around the challenges in getting funding from the government?
Uh, can you just maybe type your question? Might be easier for me to follow through. I think Niharika Gupta asked something about how to convince the customer in this pandemic situation. And the short version is that if you can solve your customer's biggest problem, you don't have to convince them, right? So right now, I get a lot of people, just to let you know this, right now at a time like this, we started a new company. We actually, I've gone back to the current people who are serving my other companies to do a new website for us, and it's a very complicated website. So we've given them new business. One of my virtual assistants left, so we went back to the same company and we just asked them to look up, do the virtual assistant stuff. So this one company, because of the existing relationship to us, in 3 days we will we have given them a few $1,000s worth of services and products to deliver because of our existing relationships. Okay, so they didn't come and convince us, they didn't go and market to us, but the very fact of how they were working with us already convinced us of the ability in the service. So if you're going to go to new clients, you will have to do a lot of more work. If you go back to your old clients and look at what problems they're currently having, um, then and looking up how can you best solve that problem for them. So remember I told you about Galactic? So they went back to all their old clients and said, how can we reduce the cost of breakdowns for you? And that was it. And then they were selling the IoT systems like no brainer. So when you say, how do we convince the customer in this pandemic situation, right? So let me give you a perspective about selling. There are two ways of selling. One way of selling is I'm going to sell you something. Okay, so I don't know about you, but whenever somebody wants to sell me something, I get my guard up. Okay, I don't trust the person. I feel that I'm going to be attacked. What I do for my clients is I help them buy. I'll help them make good buying decisions. So, can I identify a problem that you have that I can solve? And if I can identify the problem that you have that I can solve, how can I bring to your awareness that the possible magnitude of the problem? Okay, how do I bring to your awareness? If I can do that, and then you're convinced that this solving this problem will change your life, your client is convincing themselves without having to convince them. So this whole thing about long time ago already, I decided I'm never going to convince anybody of buying a service or product from me. Okay, and that's the difference between selling and marketing. In selling, you have to convince a person, hey, I've got the best product available. In marketing, you're developing an attraction brand where people come to you because your marketing is so good, they say, hey, please solve our problem. So right now, when you sell to somebody and you want to push it to them, you are being seen as an aggressor, right? Now, if you are an aggressor, how is a person going to react? They're already oppressed on so many levels by different people. You're going to be another aggressor. But if I am helping you with a good solution, then I'm on your side. And by the way, just to be really clear, right? I will not sell to somebody if I don't think the solution that I have is a good one for them. They may be convinced it's a great solution, but they cannot buy from me. And I've actually got clients who bring in the other clients, and client A will buy a certain product or service, and client B will look at client A buying the product or service and say, I want that, and I will say, this is not for you. You cannot buy from me. And then client A will tell client B, he will not sell you anything if it doesn't work for you. right? So once they do that, we have created some credibility, some trust. Contrast to, another kind of environment where whatever you can buy, you buy. And sure, there will be the frenzy when people buy, and then after that, you have lost credibility. And credibility is such a powerful issue. Once it's lost, you can't rehabilitate it. I think all you have to do is look around the world and the environment for so-called brands that lost credibility, and then after that, nobody wants to touch them. So we are in a difficult situation, right? And every day I am seeing people struggling either financially or in health terms. And we are right now talking to different countries, and I hear the same thing over and over again. At the same time, they also talk about, we have all these opportunities. How do we move forward? How do we make use of them? So right now we are actually taking some of our services and going online. We already started doing psychological work online. That was last year, right? Before that was all face to face or groups. Now we do group coaching and group counseling. We are doing more and more group clinical work, online clinical work. So people order tests, they do the tests, and then from the results we do online coaching, and then we sell products and services. And we're not even looking for new people, but new people come because of being referred by current clients and customers. So what's important to do that is your presence, your branding, and are you ready to engage? So we spend a lot of time devising platforms to engage, all right? And it's got to be useful for them. Now, I appreciate all of you coming here and spending your time, but think about it. In order for you to come here and spend your time, BBX had to give you this really interesting copy, right? So they looked at all the stuff I gave them. And then you have to see the potential relevance. How valuable is your 45 minutes to 1 hour? If I cost my time, 1 hour is worth $500. So some of you, it may be $500 or maybe 1,000. I just used up $500 to $1,000 of your capital. So in order to do that, you must trust BBX and trust that whatever is going to happen can be potentially useful to you. So how many times are you having an engagement like that with a new client? How do you go about setting up an engagement? And do you have a replicated way of doing it over and over again in such a way that you don't have to do this conversation? So we have programs where after people have engaged with us, we have automated systems where you go in and listen to information and all of that. And we set that up before COVID because we saw something happening.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you.
Sundardas. Thank you. Um, Thank you for all your questions as well. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, feel free to type it down in the chat. And also regarding the amazing offer that Dr. Sundardas has also given to the community, just please feel free to reach out to him via the website that he has dropped in the chat box. And also, any further questions can also be directed to him through his personal email that he has kindly allocated in the chat. I think we have one more message. Okay, sure. So, does anybody have any questions? If not, we'll wrap up today's session.
Thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to thank BBX for organizing this and providing the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We're really, really honored to have you as well. And okay, so with that, we thank you all for all your time, and of course, Dr. Sundardas as well for your amazing speech, and it's really, really inspirational, and also the amazing offer that I'm sure a lot of people are very excited about. Yes, so okay, thank you everyone, and also
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful weekend and stay safe, most importantly.